Steve Austin said this to ESPN. I said I'd never get in the ring again unless all the stars aligned, and for some reason, somehow, they all did. At the age of 57, I headlined the first night of WrestleMania. Hell yeah. I never thought I'd do that. What? If you had told me that when I retired in 2003, I would have said, you're crazy. So from now on, I'm not going to sit here and say no to anything, because you never say never in this crazy business of sports entertainment. So that is right, while it's still a long shot. Basically, the Rattlesnake has surveyed his performance at WrestleMania 38, understood that he had a good time, and I suppose done a post-mortem, and believes he could do better, to the point maybe, just maybe, he could come back. Maybe. The line that really got me too is when Austin said he does have an opponent in mind who would be his final match. So you know what we do here on YouTube. We start speculating. So I have come up with 10 names, and I'm gonna rank them all. And we'll start with 10. This one's hilarious. The Rock. So of course this is pie in the sky stuff, but we're already talking about pie in the sky stuff in terms of Stone Cold Steve Austin coming back to the ring. And let's not pretend this name doesn't enter your head. Now look, as Steve has actually said in another interview, this would be a really bad idea because they'd both be super slow. I also doubt that either one would want this because they put such a wonderful full stop on their all-time feud. I mean, you can go back and watch their WrestleMania 19 match now, and it will still make you feel warm and fuzzy in your tum-tum, and you get water in your seeing devices. Some emotional stuff. If we are going to go into the prediction realm, though, of course we have to have this discussion. That's why I plonked it at number 10. So it's like totally not going to happen, but a tiny part of me does believe. I mean, if they just punched each other for 10 minutes, I'd be having the best time. Number 9, Dominic Mysterio. Now don't laugh, and let's just re-examine what Austin said. Because at no point did he say that he wants to have an awesome classic or an absolute banger. He just said when he did think about his final match, he had a great idea about how it could go, and what do the fans want to see? They want to see Steve Austin taking on a mega heel and whooping that guy's ass. And nobody is better equipped for that role than the Condom, especially because in the lead up to this, you'd imagine he'd be carrying much of the program, and he could be such a dickhead on promos when eventually that glass breaks. He's like, oh no, what have I done? And he runs away. I mean, it'd just be so much fun, and that is what wrestling is all about. And when you get to the match itself, it only has to go 5 minutes. Austin could absolutely pulverize this guy, give him about 32 stunners, 1, 2, 3. And sure, yes, I get it, maybe that's not of the level of a Steve Austin, but he is almost 60 years old, and he does have bad knees. Sometimes you just gotta do something out of left field. The real issue is that given how Dominic does attract heat, he would get so many what chants, to the point we'll get to 2044, and that thing will still be going. Because it has been over 20 years. My gosh, it's going to outlive us all. Number 8, Cody Rhodes. Right, okay, so you want more zing, do ya? Well, zing this. Because as of me talking, we are actually living in a world where it kind of seems likely that at some point Cody Rhodes will tangle with The Rock. So we do want to break all the walls down. At some point, why don't we just team Cody up with Steve Austin too? Now, we do have to be wary here, because it was the American Nightmare that forced Dwayne Johnson to go heel, so he has mega powers. And do you remember when the rumors first broke that he was leaving AEW? This was the same time as the rumors broke that Steve Austin was coming back for one last match. And do you know what got more traction? I think you can figure it out. Some people, of course, will now be shouting out, but Simon, we've already talked about Austin's age. Well, there is a caveat to this. When Steve does arrive in a building, people are so damn happy to see him, they forget how old he actually is, and they just want to see him kick some ass. And he can do that. We've gone over this. Punches and kicks. Dusty Rhodes could also be involved too, although that's always the way with all Cody feuds. But of course, Steve Austin had a personal relationship with that guy. And really, all I want to see is them have a mega promo off. Then do whatever you want in the ring. I don't even care. Number 7, Seth Rollins. Now this one would come down to a lot of things, but the major headline is that Seth Rollins does not get his due when it comes to being an amazing in-ring worker. Like, I know it didn't go well at the end of it, but do you know why WWE said, hey Seth, do you want to work with Sting? Because he knows what he's doing. Steve Austin knows that too, and he would be able to do whatever you need to do to get a good match. It also has the easy selling point of the present versus the past. This is just something that I would like to see. Why I've put it here, I don't know. Should probably be higher up the list, but I've done it now, so kiss my feet. In at 6, it's AJ Styles. This one is super obvious too, and I'm sure you've already figured it out, because a lot of people still say that Steve Austin is Mr. WWE, which is a terrible nickname, but do you know who AJ Styles, to a lot of people, will also always be? Mr. TNA. Now I know that WWE doesn't own the library to that, but they do seem to have a good relationship with Total Nonstop Action, so if you could actually highlight both of their careers and how for a good old while Styles was just lighting up that place, well, you may be able to put the pieces together. It also ties into the Seth Rollins argument because even though AJ is in his mid-40s, my word, he is still so good in the ring, he is so damn safe, and don't forget that's one of the reasons The Undertaker wanted to work with Edge all those years ago. He knew if anybody on the roster was going to carry his ass, it was the Phenomenal One. For me personally too, given that I did grow up with both these guys, it would just make me laugh my ass off. I'd be like, how does wrestling always do this? I quite like the idea of this matchup. Make it happen. Or go totally crazy, because number 5, John Cena. This one kind of stands out like a sore thumb too, because given what we've just said, this one would be Mr. WWE versus Mr. WWE. I mean, everybody says that it was John Cena that took the mantle from Steve Austin. There's your story. Of course, the only issue with this one is that both guys are past their prime when it comes to their in-ring work, so you are going to have to come up with something. But once again, if you just let them cook on the microphone, I tell you, it would be wonderful. And maybe even Johnny Boy drops in his fine speech, and usually he does that to absolutely destroy someone. Austin ain't gonna be up for that. He's gonna come back with fire. The real joy of this one to me, though, is that I would never be able to guess who was going to win, because neither of them are full-timers anymore, so neither of them actually have to get the W, and that creates such a wonderful game of Jeopardy. Well, I quite like it. Number 4, LA Knight. So you can still go on the internet, and do you know what people are shouting out, even though it's so damn boring now? Oh, LA Knight is just an amalgamation of The Rock and Steve Austin together. Yeah? Who cares, man? If you're going to pick 2 superstars to try and imitate, I mean, go and find me better ones. You can even throw that into the mix as Austin's all like, oh boy, you stole my gimmick. This actually ties into The Rock as well, because if The Rock is going to be around for a while, post-WrestleMania, he too should get into it with LA Knight. And as long as you give LA a little something, by the end of it all, he should come out shining even brighter than he is right now. Let's not pretend he doesn't deserve his due either. The man got over. Knight also has a really traditional, safe WWE style as well, which would be good for Stone Cold. And yeah, this to me is another one. I just want to hear them talk. I can already see the corner I have backed myself into. Number 3, Randy Orton. So absolutely this goes back to the fact that you want somebody safe to take care of Steve Austin, and Randy would probably be at the top of that list. But also, this would be a clash of generations. Like, it's not quite The Rock versus Hulk Hogan, but to a lot of people, it would be quite close, because don't forget, ever since Orton returned to WWE, he has entered that amazing status place where people are like, oh my gosh, it's Randy Orton. I don't actually think it does much for either of them though, because Austin wins, okay, that's great, and Randy wins, okay, that's great. So this one is more about the spectacle. You do make a good point in the sense that I don't think Austin would be able to take an RKO, but Randy would definitely be able to take a stunner. I mean, I don't think this was going to happen, man. But I've done it now and there's no going back. Number 2, Bron Breakker. So in no world should Bron Breakker be at number 2, but I'm manifesting. Because if this is indeed going to be Steve Austin's last match, let's make a start. Now listen, Bron has all the tools right now, and I believe one day he will main event WrestleMania. And if he actually defeated Steve Austin, I mean, you're going to please as many people as you piss off. Now, actually, deep down in my Tootsie Toes, I don't think we should do that, and I believe Steve Austin should win his last match. But given that the business was always built on doing your favors on the way out, well, find me somebody better. I mean, Trick Williams is fine too. I only went for Bron because, well, I don't know really. It just came out my mouth. In reality, though, I just don't think that Breakker or somebody like Trick Williams is a bigger star just yet, even though a victory would propel them up that way. Because again, yeah, Steve Austin was one of a kind, so his last fight should be a one-of-a-kind match. All of that is kind of irrelevant too, though, because we get to number 1, and this is the guy, like it just so is, CM Punk. Because in that same interview with ESPN, this is what Stone Cold said: I like Punk, and I think Punk likes me. So long as he can take a Stone Cold stunner, I consider him a great friend, a great guy, and a great wrestler who's had a great career. We'll see. So everybody just calm down, because yes, that was basically Austin going wink, wink, nudge, nudge, but this is the right guy. Again, all you need to do is go back to that WWE 13 commercial they did together when they had a big promo off. I have been waiting basically over 10 years to see them get it on, And even though they both are a decade older, I still think it would be absolutely fabu. So take the other 9 and throw them out the window. Because if Steve Austin does come back, I want Austin versus CM Punk. I mean, not only do they have history, but their characters are polar opposites. I think this would still be one for the ages. And now I want it more than anything. The big question, of course, though, is that are we actually going to get this, or is Steve Austin just having some fun in an interview? Let us know in the comments below. Click the video on the screen, watch some more love-ins, like the video, share the video and subscribe.